So let's start broadly here and then we'll narrow in subsequent slides. So we very briefly read some of the ideas of Marx and Engels, and interpretation of their work predicted a path to a kind of an egalitarian or an equal future among all people that was really utopian, that was ideal. The ideas of their process was that society would industrialize under capitalism, then it would see revolutions that would take them through socialism and eventually to communism. The ideology is named after Marx, but in reality, Marx really looks a lot at the nature of capitalism and its history, rather than spending a lot of time thinking about what's going to happen in the future. One of the things that's kind of ironic is that the revolutions that bring so-called Marxist regimes to power happen in pre-industrialized societies by and large. Places like Russia and China and Korea, Vietnam, Cuba. And this goes against the actual theories of Marx. Despite that, the revolutions and a couple others in these places establish regimes that call themselves Marxist and call themselves communist. Outside of Western Europe, and actually not outside, inside Western Europe and inside the United States, also Southeast Asia, Latin America, there are communist parties that run candidates for elections, and they're part of what becomes a much larger global communist movement. And that kind of gets to this idea that at its heart, 20th century communism is international. It is anti-nationalist. And nationalism and communism kind of remain very antagonistic to each other throughout the 20th century. But at the same time, when communist parties come to power, they begin in many ways to act like typical states. So we see in the Soviet Union, for example, conflict breaking out between the central government and states that it treats like colonies in Eastern Europe, and also conflict rising between larger powers like the USSR and what becomes the People's Republic of China. So let's take a look at a couple of these specifically, and we'll start with Russia.